Coming up on this episode of Mind the Game.
Us winning was forcing the networks to have to talk about basketball. And I know that's hard sometimes for some people to talk about basketball. So they quickly shifted it to, how can we make this lame-ass conversation be about, is Tyrese Haliburton a superstar?
Y'all 2025 playoff run.
The game tire
shot, oh my God. It bounced all the way to the top of the damn stadium.
But it felt good the whole time. I promise it felt good the whole time. All I could think about going into game 7 the night before was like, tomorrow is the biggest moment in my basketball career. If I've scored 10 points in the first quarter of my career, I don't think I've ever lost. So I had 9 in 6 minutes.
You mentioned legacy and all that and changing the narrative with winning it. I think you did that even with y'all losing too.
Right.
The Celtics, they came into the season, a lot of people were saying, well, might be lottery for the Celtics. Jaylen Brown basically said, to hell with y'all narrative, I'm about to go crazy.
Last year was a lot of, let me get the switch and JT and JB just be 2 of the best players in the world in ISO and score. They're doing a great job of getting switches and then having that pace within the half court with the blurs, with the random action to kind of play out of that empowers everybody else to play the right way.
I would love to talk about you being the villain.
I say this all the time, people love you until you become a threat to what they want.
Oh, for sure.
Things became a little different because of the whole overrated thing. There's certain fans that already didn't rock with me. Now my peers are piling on top of that. And then the fans are like, you know what? Because his peers are doing that, we're in too, you know?
Like it has to be true. It has to be true. What I want to get to is, man, y'all playoff run. Y'all 2025 playoff run. Coming into, playing, I think you guys played Cleveland, you guys played Boston. Who did y'all play in the first round, Milwaukee?
It was Milwaukee, Cleveland, New York.
Milwaukee, Cleveland, New York, and then obviously OKC. Okay, yeah. So, you guys dominated that first series with Milwaukee. And then coming in round 2 with Cleveland they had the best record in the NBA that year, right? Yeah, they had the best record. They had the momentum. Everybody was picking them to go to the finals that year out of the East. Man, take me through that run. That run was magical, bro. Take me through it.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was nuts. It probably, the most special time I've ever had playing this game. The Milwaukee series, obviously, it's well documented, the history we have with them and they have with us. So, when we got to match up with them, we were excited. And took advantage of that and actually having home court. That was a big deal for us too, being able to control home court and take care of that. And, moving on to a team like Cleveland who had the #1 record in the league the whole year. But we felt comfortable in that series, going into that series, because we never really played them healthy. They weren't healthy or we weren't healthy really the whole year. Our last 2 games of the year playing them, last 2 games of the year, we both sat everybody. Or we sat everybody one game, then we both sat everybody the other game. I think I might have got hurt at halftime of one of the games, so didn't come out for the second half. And I don't remember the other game. I don't think I played. So really, we never had our full roster against them. So we never really matched up with them in a real way. So, they obviously were battling some injury stuff. And when you're on the road to start a series, let's steal one. Let's just steal one. And you win that first game in kind of that dominant fashion, it wasn't really close. And that second game was kind of all right, you just want to get out of here. And then it was hold on, we might come back. To take 2 on the road.
To take 2
is
my goodness.
Now all I'm thinking is we sweeping them.
We're sweeping them.
Yeah, we go home and sweep. And then we lose game 3. We got blown out in game 3. It was ugly. But then we blew them right back out in game 4. And now you're up 3-1. You kind of got that. I mean, I know I'm not supposed to say you have that confidence around you, but you know what I mean. If you're up 3-1, you feel good about it and kind of just run from there. And then get to match up with New York, who that's what we wanted. We played them the year before, and the excuse was that they were hurt, and they were. And so we were like, okay, you're healthy now. We're healthy. Let's hoop. And I felt like we felt really comfortable in that series. Obviously, the game 1, the comeback. The game winner or the game tire.
The shot, oh my God. It bounced all the way to the top of the damn stadium.
But it felt good the whole time. I promise it felt good the whole time. And if it would have been a 3, to me it's one of the greatest shots in NBA history if it was a 3, but it was a 2. But that moment to have that happen, you could, again, we talked about taking that air out of the building, you could just feel it gone. And then it just kind of like riding that wave of all that team momentum to get to the finals. And, I think about game 4 of the finals a lot. Didn't finish it, but like it was like, all right, how do we move on? Get to games, we get to game 7 and it's like, this is the moment. Like all I could think about going into game 7 the night before was like, tomorrow is the biggest moment in my basketball career. Like there's nothing that matters more. This will define the way that people talk about me for the rest of my career. That's the way I viewed it. And if that's correct or incorrect, I didn't care because I was like, if I win, and I know legacy talk is a bigger thing and I don't necessarily care, but like to be a lead point guard, to help lead a team to win a championship, that puts me in some rare air. You know what I mean? In a space that, is pretty special. So all I could think about was tomorrow's a big moment. Don't put more pressure on myself. I'm just gonna go out there and hoop. And I had it going early. And there was a dude courtside. I was like, he's gonna be the guy I'm going at today. Like I'm talking to him. I'm like, all right, we gone now. Like, and I don't know the stat, but if I've scored 10 points in the first quarter of my career, I don't think I've ever lost. So I had 9 in 6 minutes, So I'm feeling good. I'm like, I've never felt like this to where, it was like documented, like if he makes the first shot, he has a good game. If he misses the first one, it's bad, whatever. Well, I made that motherfucker that game. So I'm like, we gonna go and I missed my third 3 and got it back in a quick one. I was like, all right, we're gonna go off this and ultimately get injured. But I mean, it was just such a special time for us. And it all coincided with so many different things at the same time, bro. Like the run, the overrated stuff, What the Helly, the song coming out, like it all kind of rose at once and it kind of all just, took a life of its own. So it was really special for us, man.
No, absolutely. That was a big time run there. And like you mentioned, legacy and all that and changing the narrative of you or whatever the case may be with winning it. I think you did that even with y'all losing too.
Right.
I think the conversation coming out of that was, man, this guy gave his everything, his whole body, everything, no matter how we felt coming into game 6, no matter how we felt coming into game 5, what he did for game 7, putting his body on the line to go through that moment at that time, bro, everything that you would have got with winning it, you got with losing. And I hate the fact that it sounds that way. The only thing that you didn't get is the ring. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you didn't get a ring, y'all don't get the trophy. But everything that you think you would have been able to capture, winning it, you actually did as well because of you going out there and putting your body on the line and, you putting on for that city, I mean, obviously I'm old enough to know the last time they went to the NBA Finals, was when they played against played against Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah.
So for you to put on and to see Reggie Miller there rocking with y'all or whatever the case may be, you doing that moment in the Garden in the Eastern Conference Finals, whatever the case may be, I think that was super dope. And you just mentioned the whole overrated, the what the helly, for me, you see what I, tweeted out during the games or whatever the case may be. I'm like, where the fuck where are y'all at now? Where the haters at? I don't hear y'all. Y'all quiet now all of a sudden. Why y'all quiet now? And the problem is, and it's not I know you don't care, I don't care, but we use it as fuel, but you have so many watchers of just stat sheets. You have guys that just do like this after the game and they go to their phone and they look and say, okay, well, Hallie, 14 points, 13 assists, 6, 7 rebounds, they're like, okay, cool. The next game, Hallie, 18 points, 12 assists, 5 rebounds, couple steals. And people read into that shit because everything in the whole narrative of our game is all about just get a bucket. How can he ain't a bucket getter? Well, he's not great. He's overrated. He ain't a bucket getter. How about the fact that we 20 games over 500?
Right.
How about that? How about we're winning and when I'm on the court, we're in the plus?
Yes.
How about the fact that my teammates love the fact when I'm on the court, they love what we bring to the table. And I just think it's just ridiculous sometimes. And the fact that some of our counterparts and colleagues even fed into that shit too was the bums of our league too. Anyways, we don't get into that.
It's like the lame ass conversation, the whole playoffs, because us winning was forcing the networks to have to talk about basketball. And I know that's
Right,
hard sometimes
right.
for some people to talk about basketball.
Right,
But it's like,
right.
when we're winning, you're not talking about what my legacy or what Pascal's legacy, you're not talking about that. So you got to talk about the game because you're talking about us. And so they quickly shifted it to how can we make this conversation, this lame ass conversation be about, is Tyrese Haliburton a superstar? Is he a superstar?
Right.
That was just so lazy to me when it was like, if y'all wanted to, like, actually talk hoop and what our team is doing, how we're applying more full court pressure, we're proving that you don't have to slow down in the playoffs to succeed. We're doing all these things that you feel the need not to talk about because you need to run narratives and stuff. Like and me and Steve talked about it. Actually, I talked to Steve a little bit before the finals, like, trying to find that balance between being that scorer and being that passer is a fight I fight every day. Every game, I fight that battle and trying to figure out the balance between the two, because if I'm pass heavy and I don't shoot enough, it could be hurting our team, but it also is like the conversation becomes, oh, Tyrese can't score or whatever. And like, there's rarely times where I shoot too much, so I'm trying to find the balance between the two. And that's part of, my growth and evolution as a player. But I feel like that was the most fun part about that run, was like, y'all got to talk about hoop, and y'all and you're showing, I don't know if you can necessarily talk hoop because you got to keep going that route, what I want to ask Bron while we're here, because I've talked to some guys about it, and I feel like you're a good person for me to ask this to. Obviously, you played in the finals in 2007 against San Antonio, and then 11 against Dallas, right? So those are like the first two. Like, the years after that, like, kind of for me, that's the biggest thing, I guess, a mental battle. And I think it's not just me, it's everybody, but everybody goes through this who loses in the finals, right? Like, am I gonna get back again? And where do I take my mind to get back there? You're a guy who's been back there so many times. It's like, what is the approach to the next year, or, your preparation, just getting back there? What is like your biggest focus in those years?
You're absolutely right, because you work your ass off, and like you and your teammates, whatever your teammates is that year, and you hope that the nucleus could stick together. But like, how do you keep that same mental drive and that same mental motivation to be able to take on the marathon? Because that's what it is. Our season is a big marathon, and then you get to the postseason, it becomes a sprint, but it is still part of the marathon from September to hopefully June. So I for me personally, like, I lost in 2007, obviously, to San Antonio, and we kind of had one of those magical runs that y'all kind of had, in 2025, where we beat, a couple teams. We beat Detroit, where we had no business beating Detroit, and making it to the finals, that year. But, and then, in 11, losing to Dallas, and it was like, okay, cool. We got to that point. We've met that marker. So, like, what is it that I'm doing personally that isn't allowing us to get over that hump? So I kind of just put more, I don't want to say pressure, but I just put more accountability on what can I continue to do? Is it defending it a little bit better here? Is it, maybe, is it listening to my teammates more? Is it asking them like, yo, what y'all need out of me tonight? You need this out of me tonight. You need that out of me tonight. Like, is it, what is it? And guys just all have to be on the same page. And obviously, shit happens throughout the course of the season. You lose 3 out of 4. You lose, you lose 2 games in a row when you're a really good team, and you have to like refocus, but you got to stay even keel, and I think that, obviously when you make your return and, you guys come back to the standard of how you guys want to play, it's about, okay, we got to the mountain, and we saw the top. So what can we do now to get to the mountaintop? And I think it's just about the mindset. It's about the process of it all. And, and like you said, teams are going to continue to get better. And you got to have a little luck as well. That. You got to have a little luck as well.
That's the thing the biggest thing is like you got to get lucky, bro.
You got to get lucky,
like,
man.
We came back all these times, and they're like, okay, you do that multiple times, it's not luck. But man, we just had so many things go right in a lot of these series. Like, I think I can name a moment from like Milwaukee, we're doubling, and Gary Trent, who's having the game, an amazing game, he's having 30. He catches it and just drops it out of bounds.
Just drops out of bounds.
How did that happen? And then the Cleveland series, I miss a free throw and somehow I get the rebound. I don't ever get rebounds on free throws, and the ball bounces the right way. Like the New York series, the Aaron Nesmith makes 5-6 threes like that, and the shot goes off, and like all that stuff had to align correctly for that to happen. That's the biggest thing people don't talk about. To win, that's like the ingredient that I feel like it's so hard to replicate, which is why you going to the finals 100 years in a row is so crazy to me, because you got to have a little luck at some, you know what I mean, and multiple points within each run.
Yeah, for sure, and you do. You have to have that. You have to have that luck around around those runs. But the one thing that you can't control is just about how you attack every day.
Right.
You know how you attack every day, and it's not saying like I need to be in the gym every day going crazy, whatever the case may be. But it's just like mental, physical, spiritual. Like how can you keep yourself abreast, and the moment. So. I think you've tasted a bit of the finals, and I know you want to get back there. So, obviously I'm rooting for you for sure.
Yeah.
And now over to our producer, Jason, for a message from one of our partners.
Thanks to DraftKings for sponsoring the show. You know what time it is. Super Bowl 60 week is upon us, the culmination of a truly wild season. And our partners at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, has been in the trenches with us for every big moment. Every circus catch, every fumble, every sack. They even managed to make me not hate the tush push as much as I already do. I mean, it's not a football play, but whatever. The live betting option keeps you right in the moment for all of it. And they've got something perfect for all new customers. Right now, new DraftKings customers who bet $5 get $300 in bonus bets if your first bet wins using code MIND. Minus 500 odds required. And look, take it from me. You don't want to be the guy at the Super Bowl party who's asking around for chargers and outlets and yada yada. No. You come to the game fully charged, so you can get right into the action. It's just that easy to use. DraftKings Sportsbook. Every drive, every play, every moment. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now using code MIND to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Playing 18 seasons in the NBA, I've lived in and out of hotels for what seems like my entire life. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten in the same generic elevator, walked down the same generic hallway, and set my bags down on the same generic chair. So anytime I travel now, I'm looking for a more unique experience, which is why I check out Airbnb first when I'm planning a trip. I've done everything from cabins for trips in the mountains to beach houses. I want a big kitchen, a spacious living room, and a solid outdoor space. And if there's a hot tub, that's a bonus. When it comes to travel, staying at a home on Airbnb is just a better experience because of the home-like qualities they provide. And hosting your home on Airbnb can give that feeling of home to others. If you're heading out of town for a big game or sporting event, why not let your home become part of the excitement? By opening your space to fellow fans, you're giving them the comfort of home and earning yourself some extra income while you're away. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host.
The Celtics. We talked about Tatum. But also, I want to talk about guys taking advantage of injuries and also losing personnel. We look at the Celtics. The Celtics lost Tatum to injury. They lost, Al Horford to another team. Drew Holiday to another team. Cornette to another team. They came into this. Porzingis went to Atlanta.
Yep.
They came into the season. A lot of people were saying, well, might be lottery for the Celtics. Might be lottery. Jaylen Brown basically said, "The hell with y'all with y'all narrative. I'm about to go crazy." We got to give some flowers to Jaylen Brown, and let's just talk about his rise and what he's done this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing unbelievable. I think he's doing a great job of just playing within the flow. Like, I feel like he's not going out of his way to fuck up what they have going offensively. I think there's a stat here that outside of 12 feet, he's 48% on contested twos. That is ridiculous. That doesn't even make sense. Like he's only behind KD and Shea in makes.
And
like,
Shea has to, yeah.
Like that's hard. That's hard to do because especially where our league is now, you say outside of KD maybe, you're living with the mid-range too. Like they can't, that's what we always say, they can't beat us with the mid-range too. There's some guys that can beat you with the mid-range too.
There's some guys that can beat you for sure.
And the way he's playing right now is unbelievable. Like he's third on the team in time of possession. Like he's doing a great job of just getting off the ball, moving, and I think he's just playing within the flow. And I feel like everybody else around him has been empowered to play the correct way. Like I feel like when guys go down or when situations are different, some guys feel like they need to do more or they need to play a different way. Where I feel like the Celtics, guys like, I feel like they really like Gonzalez. I feel like he's going to be a part of what they have going.
Yeah, the kid Walsh coming in, giving Jordan Walsh coming in, give him some good minutes.
Hauser, who's doing still what he's been doing.
Hauser, I seen a stat the other day. I don't know the exact stat, but I think the Hauser had like 30 and he shot all threes.
10 for 21.
Like yeah.
10 for 21.
All threes. That's it. It takes not
he had 6 or 7 at halftime. And I think they were joking with him because the second half he didn't shoot it great, but he's 10 for 21 from 3.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I like that they're still allowing him. We need you to be you, and we need everybody to be who they are,
sure.
and we'll figure it out. And they're doing a great job, I think, of their bigs. Like obviously they're playing guys like Keita and Garza, who are much different than Al Horford, Cornette, Porzingis, but they're doing a great job of just flowing into stuff. Like we always said when we played them, their bigs were always kind of on that slot line, hanging out for flares. And to set it for JT and D White and Drew and JB. And I think that they're doing a great job of still playing that way, but I feel like they've kind of, I don't want to say bit from us. I don't want to say that's the right word, but like they're doing a great job of, last year was a lot of, let me get the switch and JT and JB just be two of the best players in the world in ISO and score.
Right.
They're doing a great job of getting switches and then having that pace within the half court with the blurs, with the random action to kind of play out of that empowers everybody else to play the right way.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. You give a lot of credit to Missoula, obviously, just like, just instilling confidence in those guys. Obviously, they got a couple guys that's already self-confident. You got JB, like you mentioned, Peyton Pritchard. He comes in like, I'm confident already. Anthony Simons, when he comes in off the bench, confident already. Derek White, confident. But like he's just instilling confidence in the rest of those guys. And, it's a few teams that's like, having to adapt this year. Obviously, we just got done playing the Nuggets last night, and, they're a team that's adapting without Jokic. We want to speak about them. We want to talk about the Suns. The Suns is a totally different team from last year when it was Book, KD, Bradley Beal, and now it's, more just Book and, Dylan Brooks is having a stellar year. And those guys kind of just like adapting. Also Miami, Miami has completely revamped their whole way of playing. Less to none pick and rolls, less to none ISOs, getting more into like, I would say kind of like how you guys are playing, just pace, getting the ball movement. If you ain't got catch and shot, catch and get off of it, catch and drive, get off of it, get to the second, third side, and you got Norman Powell playing exceptional basketball. Obviously, Bam does what he does. Let's kind of like talk about those 3 teams.
Yeah, I think that's like a really interesting point you're making. And I want to say that, but I don't want to sound like arrogant. But I feel like when teams watch us in our run last year, right? A lot of teams, I felt like in front offices and coaches watch our group, and the way they're watching is like, the way they're playing, we want to play that way. And they look at a guy like me who's not like this like super scoring, go get you like they look and say, we have a player on our team who's just as good as Haliburton or Siakam. And if we got the right pieces around, we can play this up style way and up pace, like fast tempo way. So I watch a team like Phoenix, who I love. I love watching Phoenix play. And I see, their coach, Coach Ott came from Cleveland, who we beat.
Yeah.
So I think he saw the way we play and has tried to move that. And that was something me and Jenny Buchek, our defensive coach, talked about a lot, was you watch these pressers from these other teams, especially in media day. I remember I was watching Book, they played like in China, and he said like, oh yeah, we're gonna try to play it more up tempo and we're gonna pick up full court. You see what Indiana's doing, I think the game is going that way. And I feel like our league, as you know, is such a copycat league. You mentioned
it's a copycat league.
You mentioned it earlier when you talked about Phoenix playing without the two bigs. Now everybody's going that way. I feel like we didn't win. Like usually you steal from the team that wins, but you see all the success that we had. Teams are kind of taking that and turn it into their own thing.
No, absolutely. And you don't have to sound arrogant because that is what our league has always been a copycat league. Always, no matter who. Like, there were teams like in the 90s, they tried. Listen, one thing you have to have, Reese, and you have to have the personnel. There were teams because of the Bulls were winning so much, that people tried to run a triangle. And you don't have Michael Jordan. Yeah. Okay, so it's not gonna work. There was teams in the 80s that wanted to play like Showtime Lakers. You don't have Magic Johnson. So and then, even in the early 2000s, people wanted to play, 7 seconds or less. They wanted to play like the Phoenix Suns. You don't have Steve Nash, but you got to have the personnel to do it. And I think, like you said, you don't have to sound arrogant. I think it's absolutely true. Everyone talked about the way you guys played the game of basketball. It looked fun. It looked like something that you wanted to implement. One, you got to have the personnel, but also it's hard to scout for unpredictable.
Exactly.
And like I said earlier.
Like, what do you do? I mean, what do you do in our scout? Because we run, I run drag. Yeah. I get drags. We run Spain, but it's in the flow. We don't call much.
Right, it's in the flow of things. So I think a lot of teams, you even look at the Spurs. We just got done playing the Spurs not too long ago, I think on one of our back-to-backs, and they're kind of playing kind of that same way. Obviously, they have a unicorn alien and Wemby, but they have a lot of guys, Fox, Castle, Dylan Harper, Keldon Johnson, all these other surrounding parts that's like getting the ball up fast. Okay, you ain't got shot, get off of it. Quick pick and roll, drag, blur screens, slip screens, like they're doing all of this stuff, and that you have to have the personnel to fit it, but it's also a good way to, you have teams that have, scouting. You can't scout that. It's not like, oh, you come down, hey, they're running a loop to a drag. Okay, make sure the low man gonna be there every time. No, it's just hard to scout that. So I definitely give credit to you, Coach Carlisle, and y'all on this is where the game is headed. So
you think it's that? I think it's. I mean, you can probably speak to it as well, but I think the game works that way defensively too, where we try to copycat and steal that. I think it's funny. We talk about the in-season tournament game. After we played y'all, everybody came out blitzing me, and it wasn't working. And I would look at the bench and be like, Anthony Davis ain't here, and Bron ain't the big.
I'm telling you.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
You listen, and that's what a great coach and a great coaching staff, and usually your best player, or if you have a couple guys, they able to understand what's best for their team. Yes, we all want to play like the Pacers. Yes, we all want to play like the Showtime Lakers. Yes, we all want to play like the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sorry, but Mahomes is not at the helm.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have to be able to, and it's unfortunate because there are teams and there are clubs and things in all different sports that want to try to copycat exactly what they see because it's working, but you have to identify with what you have, and if you're able to identify what you have, then you can make the most of what you got. So, but it's great, man. You guys play a great style of basketball. Me and Steve talked about it a lot last year. And obviously can't wait to get you back on the floor because the game miss you and seeing the way you play. I would love to talk about, I brought it up earlier. I said New York Knicks fans love their favorite guy. I would love to talk about you being the villain, man. How do you love having that hat on? And where did that come from?
For sure.
I mean, I see your pops too. I feel like your pops back in the day was like that too. Did it come from pops? Did it come from you just watching the NBA or just shit, man, this is fun. I love interacting and just getting that vibe out there.
Yeah, it's so funny because I say this all the time. People love you until you become a threat to what they want,
Oh, for sure.
So I tell people this all the time. They understand, when I used to go back and play in Milwaukee, I used to get cheered, loud. I would score and get cheered. And then the minute that our team was a threat to what Milwaukee was trying to build and we played in the playoffs, now it's Tyrese the worst person in the world, we're booing him. You know, like that's just how things kind of happen really fast. Even in the Garden, not that I got cheered or anything, but I had the moment where I threw the ball off the glass and hit Pascal, and it was like, oh, it's go, right? And it was like, you know how the Garden is. Like once you do something, you have a great game or you play the right way, they're kind of like,
respect it.
Yeah. But since when we get to the playoffs, they on dirt, you know? But I think it's so funny because for me, I mean, it's probably similar to you because you were kind of in your villain era in Miami as well. Like, that's not us. Like, we're just like, we play the game. Like, we love the game. It's like, I love what I do. We smile when we play. I think we're both kind of in that realm. But, like, we also look for things that get us going. You know what I mean? And I think all the greats do. They're looking for those outside sources to kind of give us that push. And so for me, being a young guy and playing in my first playoffs 2 years ago and playing again last year and really having to go through the same teams, right? It was Milwaukee and New York and then went to Boston, lost to Boston. Then we played Milwaukee, New York again with Cleveland and then obviously OKC. But things became a little different because of the whole overrated thing. So now it wasn't just, it wasn't the fans, there's certain fans who already didn't rock with me. Now my peers are piling on top of that. And then the fans are like, you know what? Because his peers are doing that, we're in too, you know?
Like it has to be true. It has to be true.
Exactly. So it kind of just, and for me, I've always just been a guy who's like, I'm my toughest critic. I'm trying to, like, I'm worried about my locker room because when we went to the in-season tournament final, when we went to the playoffs, all these things, we were never picked to do those things. Like I've never been favored to win like a serious game ever. That's like never happened to me.
Like, I mean, you haven't been picked to, like you was not recruited high. Like you've never been you've never been like the guy that everybody was like, man, we got to make sure we keep him under. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
that's my life. That's my story. So I enjoy that. I feel like I love that. And I'm a big wrestling fan. Like I love wrestling. I love kind of that heel bad guy who you want to cheer for, right? Like The Rock and guys like that. Like you grow up watching who like everybody's booing them, but like they love it. Like I feel like I'm that way. And I feel like all the greats kind of do that. They look for that, what's that outside source to get me going? And then you just kind of feel off that. And I know you can relate to that too.
No, absolutely. Like it's funny you said how like I grew up a big wrestling fan too, and obviously I'm a lot more older than you, obviously. But I grew up watching like, you know, Hulk Hogan. Like at one point Hulk Hogan was like America's, you know, everyone loved him, you know, what it means to be an American. And then one day he went to NWO and people couldn't understand how he tagged up with the enemy. Like they was like, what is going on?
Right.
You know, and everybody just booed him. He went from wearing red and yellow to black and white, New World Order, all of that. So like, you know, it is a funny thing to, you know, and one, we're entertainers as well.
Exactly.
You know, we're entertainers as well, and we grew up, you know, like you said, watching wrestling, watching entertainment, watching movies, watching, you know, a guy beat a hero or beat a villain. And, you know, I'm a big Batman fan. As much as Batman is my favorite superhero of all time, I also love the Joker's role. You know, I love the Joker. I love Heath Ledger. I love, you know, Jack Nicholson. Like, I love those guys playing those roles. You know, I love Tom Hardy as Bane. Like, I love that shit too. So, like, you know, like you said, our personality is like, listen, we want to go out and have fun, you know, get our guys involved, smile, you know, be happy because that brings us joy. That's how we've always played it. But we can tap into the Joker role if y'all make us now. Right. We can get there too now and still be able to perform at a high level. So, you know, it can be weird at times, but you know, I think it's dope that we both kind of see it the same way and able to tap into that, especially on the road. There's nothing better than quieting and silencing the road crowd.
There's nothing better. Like I always tell people, like of my 4-game winners in the playoffs, like the one at home is my least favorite because the other one's like feeling the energy, like being taken out of a building. There's nothing in the world that's better than that. And what people don't understand is like playoff basketball. This ain't nothing to like. This ain't nothing to laugh about. This is not funny. This is do or die time. I'm trying to win every game. Because you know how it is. You give up one game in the playoffs, it can cost you a whole series. It can cost you a whole series. I don't think about any game in the playoffs more than I think about game 4 of the finals. up 2-1, going up or up in the fourth quarter. We lose that game. We ultimately obviously lose the series. But if you win that game, you go up 3-1, it changes the whole trajectory of the series. It
changes the whole thing. Absolutely. Absolutely.
As someone who's lived and played across the globe, I learned what makes a flight truly exceptional. And let me tell you, Emirates economy class is the real deal. With over 260 modern aircraft connecting more than 160 destinations worldwide, Emirates has got game. I'm talking generous legroom that even a former NBA player appreciates. Their latest aircraft offers 4K HD touchscreens loaded with thousands of channels of entertainment, making these long-haul flights fly by. Plus, their generous baggage allowance means no more worrying about packing. Emirates understands that traveling can be as stressful as a playoff game. That's why they've created an experience that feels like home. The moment you spot Emirates staff at the airport, you know you're in good hands. Their crew treats every passenger like an MVP. Look, I've flown countless of airlines, but Emirates economy class, it's like having home court advantage 40,000 feet in the air. Go to Emirates.com to learn more. There's nothing like going from a relaxing airport lounge to an even more relaxing hotel, followed by dinner, a concert, and doing it all over again. With the newly enhanced American Express Platinum Card, upping your travel game just got a whole lot better. With Amex Platinum, you can enjoy access to over 1,550 airport lounges throughout the largest global lounge network, as compared to other credit card companies as of July 2025. Lounge access means having a place to take it all in before you need to take off. With an array of premium travel, dining, and entertainment benefits, all backed by American Express's award-winning service, there's nothing like Platinum. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withplatinum.
You know, for me, I've had this privilege for the last 23 years. And as a kid growing up, where I grew up, I always looked at some of the greatest athletes in the world that had this same privilege and had this same honor. I want to talk about you having your first signature shoe, bro. You know, I'm seeing you wear the hoodie right now with your logo. You know, I remember as a kid growing up, Michael Jordan, Ken Griffey Jr., you know, Bo Jackson with the cross trainer, you know, J Kidd, all these guys, you know, Deion Sanders, like Barry Sanders have their own sneaker. And I was like, oh my God, that would be so incredible, bro. Like, you know, and I want to, what does it mean for you, bro, to like have your first sneaker, bro, have your first collab, now you got your apparel, like that shit has to be super cool and surreal for you, bro.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. You know, during that whole Olympic process and my shoe contract expiring, you know, just like talking with all these different brands and companies and the realization, like before I even picked a company, that there are companies out there that want to give me my own shoe. Like I couldn't even fathom it from where I come from and my story and the under-recruited kid to get to where I am. And I mean, it was just so amazing, bro. Like looking back at my life, like it's a top 5 moment for me to have my own shoe. Cause just like you, I grew up like where my mom stopped feeding my shoe addiction once I got to like high school. So I would ref on the weekends just to make enough money to go on eBay. And how do I get the LeBrons? How do I get the Concord 11s? How do I get all these different kicks to like, you know, that, you know, for me to feel good, look fly, whatever. And so for now, there's kids out there who have the ability to go to a store and get my shoe. It means the world to me. So like, I always stop in my tracks, you know, like when I see somebody at a game or something with my shoe to sign it, it's like, it's so surreal for me. It's unbelievable. And I'm sure you can relate to loving the process of making your own colors, designing your own stories, and doing all these special things. It's like, it means the world to me, and it's so cool, and I can't wait to see, you know, where the future of my business goes and what I'm doing with Puma is so amazing. So yeah, man, and I know you can relate. How many shoes you got now? What number are you on?
I'm on signature 23. But I got so many other ones as well. You know, Bronny is wearing one.
And like, there's gotta be
so many.
When you're designing them, bro, by the time, like, I'm already at, we're working on the 2. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
I already know you are.
2 already, of course.
Yeah.
People don't understand. Once your shoe comes out, you are already designing the next one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I literally just left Portland we just played Portland a few days ago, and I met with Nike. We're trying to finalize the 24. So, I just started at 23. We're getting close to finalizing the 24, and then, start talking about the 25. So it's a long process, man. And, I'm just super proud of you, man. Super hyped for you in this whole thing, like your whole journey. Like you said, like we mentioned earlier, your journey is a lot different than mine, but, when it comes to the way we love the game and how we met as far as how we play the game, how we approach the game, how we love the game, how we study the game, I just love to see, guys like yourself and the younger generation just like continue to take the game where it need to be taken to, because the guys up underneath you, the guys that's in high school, the guys that's in college, these guys look up to you. They look up to Ant. They look up to the, the younger generation. So, it means a lot to me, man. And I'm super humbled and super appreciative of you allowing me to be in your corner, bro.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate, I would be wrong if I didn't, give you your flowers that you have helped lay the blueprint for where we are going, where our game is going. I think not only in basketball, but just business and the way you've taken care of your guys. Like, I think we always talk about that as younger guys. Like, Bron gave us the blueprint, like for us to, help put our people in better positions to succeed and to chase something bigger and take this game to another level the way you've just carried yourself. And man, and the relationship I have with you is, man, got to be one of the most special things to me because I grew up, you were my guy. If I had a picture of my childhood, I had the LeBron fathead behind my bed with the Cleveland jersey. So it's so surreal for me to be here talking with you and just our relationship. So man, I appreciate you having me, and really thankful and humble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that was great, Ty. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, of course, man. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, it only took you 45 minutes to bring up wrestling, so great.
Hey, Jason, I'm gonna bring them up again every time. Tell WWE to pay me. Tell them to pay me, let me get in the ring.
Thanks for watching Mind the Game. New episodes drop every other Tuesday. Remember to like, subscribe, or follow wherever you're watching.